Hello, everybody, and welcome back to DM Writer's Room. Back to the basics today. We're going to be working on one of our original ideas from a year and a half ago, 2 years ago,
Year
year and a half. We come with a theme in mind, each of us, and we decide between those themes which one we want to pursue, and we build a dungeon, we build a boss, we build a magic item, and it's all in that theme. So that's it for me. I'm going to kick it over to Ethan, I suppose, for the breakdown on what DM Writer's Room is in general.
Yeah, so DM Writer's Room, I'm sorry, I'm digging through my notes over here. DM Writer's Room is a show dedicated to sort of demystifying the DMing process. Born out of the fact that during a conversation a year and a half or 2 years ago, we basically noted that when you look up advice on how to DM and how to prep for games, you get a lot of incredibly vague and unhelpful nonsense. You get tips that aren't very instructive, and so we thought it would be super helpful to be like, we're going to make something live. This is what it's like. We're going to go through the steps of creating something live. We're going to talk it out. We're going to throw out half our ideas 2/3 of the way through making stuff. That's what we're going to do. Eventually, we ended up making our fantasy setting of Prospect, which is now a beloved joy of ours. We've been slowly but meticulously working on getting that off the ground, and started going down some different avenues, looking at one-page adventures, looking at sort of reskins of games like Morkborg. Recently, we've sort of started really deciding to tackle game design, but it's important every now and again for us to sort of return to these shorter formats. And that's where this sort of idea of the dungeon, the monster, and the item comes from. The goal being to create a one-shot dungeon, less than 7 encounters, which means you could feasibly do it in 4-6 hours, and giving it, a creative twist off of a theme. We have a couple of other sort of ideas that we kick around with. We have some of our villain focused. We just finished a villain dossier where we take a bad guy and sort of give them enough crunch that somebody could take them and drop them in a campaign wherever they like. So it's half us spending time coming up with ideas together, which we do then try to do the work to publish at some point in the future. One of these days, we're going to get one out there. And to the side, the goal is that those people in the future that watch this or any of our older streams just get a really authentic view at what it's like to come up with ideas and throw ideas out, which happens all the time. Often, we will get 2/3 of the way through whatever we are making, throw everything we've just made in the garbage, take the parts we like, and continue through the last third.
Or
it's a hodgepodge of no idea of knowing what we're doing, and then it all just kind of comes together.
Yeah, that definitely happens.
Those are the fun ones.
Prospect kind of started that way. It just sort of starts to cobble into a shape.
It was so loose for the first 4 episodes.
We were like, cowboys. Yeah. The seeds you start with can be incredibly small. And on that note, we each have a theme, and we are going to pick one to go ahead with, or random roll. Sometimes that's actually usually a Spencer decision. Spencer tends to come down on one side or the other of voting or random rolling to determine which we do. Usually it helps when one of us has an idea that we immediately are like, oh, that's worse. We should do one of the other ones. I will start with my theme. Demon Bug.
I like it. It feels very well thought out.
Demon
I
Bug?
think is
Demon Bug?
Demon Bug.
Demon Bug. That's
Now, do you mean Demon Bug as in...
Demon Bug.
What is it? Herbie Fully Loaded, but demonic? Or bug is an insect?
So punch buggy demon.
Yeah.
Demon Bug.
All right, Demon Bug.
If you want to think about it as like an infernal machine a la Avernus, Demon Bug, that's kind of fun. Is it a little bug that's a demon? Demon Bug. Is it a bug that's a sign that the demonic plane's a little too close to ours? Demon Bug. I don't know. I brought a theme and my theme was Demon Bug.
Can I also offer a cold, a bug, a stomach bug?
I was going to say a bug that makes people into demons
demon
when they're infectious. Yeah. All right.
That's spread by
I want to say
demon bugs.
I feel like I caught a little bit of shit. We said come with a theme. We didn't say come with a flushed out.
No. I like it.
Demon
I was just seeing where we could go with it, and that was fun.
Mhm.
All right, Michael.
So I've been playing. I told these guys I've been playing a pachinko kind of game. My idea is casino. It's like more. It's a little bit of a theme, but something dealing with a lot of luck or
Casino.
the. It's always in the house's favor, so stuff is kind of getting taken away from the players.
I like it.
Interesting. Mine is technically it's Irish folklore because we've got St. Patrick's Day coming up. And what it really is Irish fairies. I was thinking, children disappearing, headless horsemen with a torch walking through the bogs, shit like that.
Getting on that Doulahan grind?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, talking about a Doulahan. That's pretty fun. So, like, you got Doulahan, you got, like, the sort of free folk narrative. My only issue is I have a sort of tentative knowledge of what you're talking about. I have Doulahans, I got Selkies, which is a terrible horse that drowns you, and I have fairies, which I'm led to believe, get in the comments, are quite nasty, if memory serves. They're sort of snatch up your kid kind of deal. So we've got casino dash luck, we've got Irish fairies, and we've got demon bug. Do we have a direction we're leaning in? Do we want to roll? Do we want to vote?
Let's let this shit roll.
All right.
Votes always make me feel bad.
Yes.
So I'm gonna roll this metal d6. I will be 1-2.
I'll take 3-4.
5-6.
5. So it's Michael. We're doing casino, baby.
All
Let's hit the
right.
slot.
So we start with casino/luck as our main prompt. And from that cut whole cloth, we need a dungeon, an item, and a monster. So, for example, the Lich's dollhouse was Honey, We Shrunk the Kids. Our monster was, for that one, was actually the spiders, right? Was those, the ghost web spiders. Our item was a marble that was heavily enchanted, and the dungeon was this tiny dollhouse. We've done a couple of others. I don't have my notes for those in front of me, so that's just sort of an idea of what we're talking about. So, casino/luck. Do we have a strong idea for any of these three?
Yeah, I'm already locked in.
I had one idea. I'll listen to Spencer's first, though.
Okay. This is like a wandering mystery man, the man with no name walks into towns, plays games of chance against people, kind of gets them locked in deep enough that he has them bet their souls on the game. He wins, he utilizes those people to do dastardly deeds, etc. And then we'll leave town.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm
imagining him in combat, like pulling a card out of a deck, and a person appears, like the shadow of a person, like their soul appears to assist him in the fight.
Yeah,
that's pretty spicy. Michael, what was yours? We might be able to.
Alex Spencer's more.
What was it? We might be able to sort of fold it in.
My idea when I was saying how it's unfair that it's always in the house. The machines are mimics eating the coins.
Mimic slots.
Mimic slots.
Okay, so let me toss a little. I'll add mimic. Below
Yeah, I mean, he could have a mimic chest that is tamed, that holds contracts in it, right? So that way he keeps them all locked up.
So we're starting monster, and we are supposed to do a dungeon, but you've described him as sort of a wanderer. So I guess we could do the dungeon is wherever he is currently set up. Which is fine. So we've got this sort of wandering person that gets you to bet everything and then takes it all away from you. And then later in combat, you are conjured to the moment. So we have one very important choice to make. When he does that, are you Pokemon style stuck in a playing card or similar gambling device? Or are you wherever you are and he can call on you and you can't say no? Like you appear at his side.
You are wherever you are, and then you appear to side in shadow form, maybe your soul. So you go catatonic. as your soul blink, pops up to do whatever this ill deed is.
Okay, and are we seeing that as again, from a game design perspective, we're just starting to narrow down what combat with this person looks like, right? So step one that we've established, these are not the actual people. Now that's great because that means the party's not killing these poor unfortunate souls.
Yeah.
Second question, fading in a little closer, are these souls like full Yu-Gi-Oh! I play Pot of Greed, and they stick around? Or do they do an action or bonus action and then vanish? So that's a huge choice. Is this a summoner who fills the battlefield with forced allies? Or is this somebody that slaps something down, something happens, and then he's up and moving? Very different. We have the sort of controller striker sort of setup, and then we have a more support summoner kind of vibe. Two very different bad guys.
I think because casinos and card games, all that are fast-paced, and like you're bing bam bo. It's just they aren't stay. He plays it. They do some action and then they're off.
And I was going to argue the opposite side, unfortunately. I do think
That's
thematically
okay.
that's fun. I think that while building encounters, it's better to have more than one enemy on the field. This guy's not going to have typical allies. He's a wandering man doing this fucked up thing. So if he can summon an archer spirit, a fighter spirit, and a mage spirit that will occupy the battlefield, it'll make the encounter more interesting.
So we could sort of, I think I'm leaning on trying to sort of do both then, if we like both. So I think that we've got sort of two categories here. One are the people whose souls he has won in game. Those are summons. He brings them there whole cloth. It's entirely possible that those people are dead, right? That's like their ghost that he is summoning. They are dispatched. And I like the idea that these actions that he has then are like, I think about
Favors.
Yeah, favors or talents. Like somebody lost their ability to blank.
Interesting.
Like he took a wizard's ability to cast spells, and now he can manifest that briefly. I think it adds sort of a fun. I like the idea that we are of the impression that this man cannot do anything. He is borrowing these skills and taking these talents from other people, and he has outmaneuvered so completely that they serve him now. It is sort of a second level to that. Okay. All right, so we've got a pretty good idea of what it should feel like to fight this person.
Awful.
Yeah, they're summoning allies. They're using these abilities. I think they are. I'm seeing them as pretty controller, like so for those of you in monster creation terms, you've got like controllers, brutes, soldiers, leaders, artillerists, and I can't remember what you call rogues. There's like the rogue equivalent, like kind of kind of like the archer, leech, sneak vibe. And it's things that harry other creatures, things that help their allies, things that do a lot of damage, things that soak up a lot of damage, and things that sneak, that are stealthy. Ambusher, that's what you usually call it. They're an ambusher. So it sounds like we're kind of in that like controller ambusher space, right? He summons these allies. He's controlling the battlefield a little bit. D&D has a lot of decks of cards. Normally, I would say the deck of cards would be fun. D&D's kind of got a lot of decks of cards floating around.
Do you want to be like dice?
That doesn't mean we can't do it. Yeah, it could be dice. It could be a deck of cards. It could be poker chips. It could be, we've got a fun soul coin parallel already sort of creeping up the back, right? He's got these like either the cards or the chips. We do need to decide our gambling device here, right? The cards evoke this sort of gambit, throwing them across the room energy. Dice makes me think Oogie Boogie, right? It is a little bit more physical. Do we have a path we like?
My initial thought was dice, but that's just because I think dice are iconic.
We could do dice.
I'm not sold either way.
I think the imagery of a soul in a die is kind of cool, or a fireball in a die is cool.
Oh yeah, dice is the spellcasting focus. He rolls the die, lands on 3. It glows as the fighter spirit appears. Right, it's pretty sick.
Okay, all right, we're getting a picture here. Gotta avoid those awkward silences. So,
Yes.
he takes somebody's soul and he ends up with like a little Monopoly die. He ends up with like a little craps D6 die. I like that. That's very cool, very interesting, and makes a lot of sense to me. It also gives us the chance to have this person's abilities be somewhat random, which is very fun.
Mm-hmm. The initial game that I think of, and I think it's an underutilized game, Liar's Dice. Very gambler-esque. Oh, you don't know Gambler Liar's Dice?
I don't know any games,
it's like,
if I'm being so real.
Essentially, it's Yahtzee. You have a number of dice under a cup, you shake them, you put them down, you peek at yours, and you say, I have 4 4s.
And then the other person can do like, all right, I have 5 5s, and so he said, if you don't believe them, you can say bullshit.
It's basically.
And this guy, this I guess this creature can have a permanent detect thoughts running, which is pretty funny for why he or they know, oh, they're lying. They actually have 3, and they always win.
Okay. Little cool, little squirrely. It's very JoJo. Very JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's very, with my stand, snake eyes. Like, Jotaro's like, I just thought 5 as hard as I could the whole time.
5.
You're like, no. Okay, cool. So we've got an idea of the monster. I don't want to get too bogged down in that. We're already cooking through our first 15 or so minutes here. Let's do a little pivot and talk dungeon and item.
The dungeon needs to be something pretty cool. And it's difficult because it's not this person's permanent location. This is a place that's been co-opted after the Rambler rolled into town.
Damn, his name is the Rambler, though, huh?
The Rambler, yeah. Yeah.
Damn!
So the Rambler comes to town and takes over a space. It needs to have multiple levels, so it's an interesting thing. It could be like a mine, it could be a cave, could be a building. I don't know. Is there anything that jumps out at you guys as being particularly likely to be abandoned, easily taken over, and with enough space that it's interesting to play in?
Abandoned, or not even abandoned, but like the nighttime market, like an abandoned nighttime market.
Yeah, we need enough room in all directions, right? One of the flaws that we run into pretty regularly is we set a location somewhere like, a small dollhouse, and all of a sudden it occurs to you that most rooms are 10 feet by 10, and you're like, ooh, all of a sudden this fight's a little cramped. So I like the old warehouse kind of vibe. My brain is... We need to settle on our Dungeons and Dragons time period a little bit here, right? So the Forgotten Realms is hard, like 1500s Britain, right? Where it's like, if you're on the docks, there's old wooden boats and like there's thatch roofs and shit. And so some of these are going to feel a little unusual, right? The concept of a warehouse is a little odd there. If we do the sort of... If we kick it ahead...
Shipyard?
Yeah, if we kick it ahead to like real shipyards, real active construction, then that could be fun. We're out on the docks. There would be warehouses to dive into. There's like, fully functional trading companies that are, dealing in that. And so that makes a little bit more sense because it also changes the way this person works, right? When you say Rambler, I'm thinking cowboy boots. Like, I'm thinking like wide-brimmed black hat, which puts us really late.
Yeah.
I know this seems a little kitschy, but whatever it is that you can do to help you sort of find your way into the setting, I think is important. Because when you started saying this, I was like, oh, it's a saloon.
Yeah.
But an abandoned saloon in a
coded.
fantasy city, immediately we stop making sense. Michael said the market. I like the idea of outside. I think Michael's tapping into that thought. My next follow-up, that's what leads me to the dock, to the seaport, to the warehouse, right? This is somebody who's set up on the side of the street where people with money from finished shipping jobs are moving back and forth. He starts by gambling money, more. He walks away with souls. But we could,
I think,
lean a lot of things.
our best bet. I do want to keep it fairly D&D, because most people, when they buy the adventure, want to be able to plug it in to their own stuff, and it gets weird. So I figure 2 locations. The market is the initial setup of the Rambler. That's where a lot of the games started happening. That's where people reference when they're talking about, this is where it happened. So the party will pursue the Rambler to this night market. And then from the night market, we'll discover that their actual location is the shipyard.
Okay, so
they
have
go
a
there.
layer.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the initial encounter there, and then you have the layer where the big fight with all the add-ons is going to happen at the shipyard.
Okay. Is this a strictly, so just for flavor, is this like a strictly magical thing? Like, is this a devil tricking people? Or is this a dude, like, is this person making these like totemic dice and enchanting them to do their willful deeds? Or is this a devil or somebody with a magical power that lets them capture people in this way?
My first thought was devil. But if we want a magic item that the party can grab, and we give one of the die for, summons, it would probably make sense.
Yeah, because if we move away from devil, we're starting to head in a direction that I think is really cool. We're starting to head in like his layers on the shipyard. He's making these dice. Are they made out of like whalebone or something? Like, does he have to make them and enchant them?
Yeah.
We could sort of lean in this like power from the sea, sort of Innsmouthy kind of thing, or we could stick it in artifice, or we could stick it in sort of that's our fake setting in the future, or sort of like fiendish. Do we have a preference of, like, point of origin?
I don't know. I'm a sucker for devils. That's my only problem. I think having a devil show up and you don't know it's a devil, and then the reveal is, oh shit, it's a devil, is fun.
Much in the way that I'm a sucker for a fish man. I'm a sucker for a man from the ocean. I can't help it. Okay.
We can put it up to a tiebreaker vote, devil or human. Michael, you haven't said one way or another.
I like both of them is the problem.
We got 2 ramblers. They both happened in town at the same time.
I think we can I think we can gently back off of it a little bit. I think what I'm sticking with is I think this person has to make these items. I don't think it's as cool. I think it is less cool for them to conjure the dice in their hands than it is for them to be these like incredibly intricate carved things that are made to hold a soul in the way that a soul coin is, right? It could be a devil, it could be, we're basically talking about warlock subclasses, right? It could be the fiend, it could be a genie, it could be a fae, it could be a devil, it doesn't really matter. It could be a great old one kind of deal. What matters is that they're sort of creating these items. So I'm just cool with saying, let's let it be a devil. Spencer likes devils, we can just roll with that. What I like is the idea that this person has to make these items, because I just think that is a little bit more, it adds a little bit more texture to this magic item we will eventually get.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so I'll pencil down devil and carved dice. That's all great. Okay. And so this layer is somewhere unique. Do we like the shipwright? You said mine earlier. Now that it's 2 different locations, my books are open. I'd be happy. Excuse me. I'd be happy for it to be a mine or the docks or on the a cave off the King's Road. Like, this is all.
Yeah, I think that like a mine or a cave makes the most sense. It's a devil getting closer to the hells by going underground. It's creepier and scarier to go from the night market, follow the trail to a cave, fucking middle of the night. That's spooky stuff.
So we're narrowing in here a little bit. We do need to be careful. We're starting to really root this guy in place. if the idea is that they are constantly on the move, we got to be careful, because now all of a sudden they have a cave near a city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're sort of starting to lean out of the kind of
A wanderer.
core of this.
What about like a graveyard?
Graveyard's good. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this guy has a demi-plane. If it's a devil, do you have to follow
That's fun.
him to where he goes? Because if he's the Rambler, he can be anywhere. I like the idea that whatever he has, he's carrying with him. I'm starting to visualize like, does he have like? I'm visualizing a suitcase that you open and there's stairs or something.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. I think adventure path wise, it goes, people are complaining about this Rambler having done some terrible thing. Maybe somebody has fallen unconscious after having a dealing. You get tasked with going to figure out what's happening. You go to the night market. At the night market, you probably won't encounter the Rambler right away. Maybe you will if you don't know the details. The Rambler's like, I'll play a game with you, and then you get swindled out of a bunch of money. They leave. You have to find more information in the area about where the Rambler's been coming from and going to. They're like, oh yeah, I see. They always approach from that direction. You go out that way, you find...
Of course, they always come from the east or something.
Yeah, exactly. You go that way, you start walking, you find a wagon. You enter the wagon, and suddenly you're inside the demi-plane. Whatever. Stuff like that. That's the path of information to lead you to the final location.
Which is also great because it means you can stick it anywhere, right? We don't need to define that city at all. We say you meet this character in the market of that city, wherever you are. And you can't just attack him there. He's a citizen, right? As far as the guards are concerned, what is his crime? Running a little gambling game? Like, that's not illegal, probably, at this time in history, right? There's no Catholic church in your fantasy world that's saying, gambling will bring wickedness into your soul. They probably don't care. Okay, so you learn about this figure, you go to the market, you encounter them, you follow them in an effort to get back the blobbity blue, somebody's daughter's soul or somebody's son's ability to whistle. I don't know, whatever it is. A smith's ability to smith, that's kind of fun, right? Something nice. If we pick something valuable enough, that can also factor into reward. You follow and you step into a demi-plane by a means that you can walk around and travel with. I'm wondering what that looks like. We talked about a wagon. Briefcase puts us way outside of time period. Is it bag of holding? Is it a tent? Is it just a tent? Right? They're the Rambler. They can.
Is it a mimic?
Tent works. There are like old. It's what Conman used to use. There was like a satchel that would open up into like
a playmat.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Temporal playmat. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Oh my god! And then when you go into his plane, you're just on the playmat.
So
it's all zones for cards and stuff.
Okay. So you track this guy down, you follow where he came from, and eventually, off in the bushes or something, you find this playmat laid flat on the ground. If you try to
and no sign of him.
If you try to pick it up, you can't.
Yep.
It's laid flat. It might. I don't know if it glows. Like, we should probably queue up somehow that it is a portal of some kind, or it's just if you go to touch it, your hand passes through. We could keep it a little vague, and you slip into this other place. Boy, howdy, we are cooking here. Okay, we're 39 minutes in. We're doing pretty good here on time. So, encounter 1 is tracking, because somebody might burn a spell slot doing that. So we have encounter 1. Encounter 1 is tracking. That means we have at least 4 and as many as 6 more encounters once you enter into this demi-planar space. Right, you walk inside, and we've got a couple of more things to do. Do we have any early? Because like we know what the big fight looks like. My question is this place like, is this where the souls go? Is this like a little soul bag?
I think it's gotta be, right? This is some like offshoot of hell. I think this is where his souls are stored until they are brought back into the dice. One.
Okay.
Two, there's probably imps fucking around there for some low-level monsters to combat. There would be treasure too. This devil starts by accumulating wealth and deeds and titles, and then gets your soul after getting you to buy in. So this is a hoard room, like a hoard dungeon, I guess. So there will be a treasure room. There will be these contracts. There will be imps flying about. There will be shades or spirits or souls, whatever, that are going to fight you. And then there's the big bad in the end of the dungeon.
Okay.
He's there resting.
So we've got undead. We've got some fiend helpers. We've got the big bad. I like all of that. The undead is just these sort of soul figures. Got some fiendish helpers. We've got this big bad. I'm trying to think of other sort of attached, and we could have a couple of full fiends. All right, full fiends as distinguished from fiend helpers. Great. We need to be legally distinct from the Forgotten Realms, so we're about to come up with some stuff here. So, you go through this tracking mission. Maybe you fight a couple of wolves. You roll up on this mat laid flat on the ground. We need to queue up that it is important. Our first encounter, I think, is upon discovering this bundle laid out flat on the ground, there is something guarding it. That lets our players know it's precious. It lets our players know it's something that needs to be guarded. Queues up the mystery nice and quick. What is guarding it? I think this is a good place for like a full fiend with a couple of helpers, like one big guy and 2 to 3 small guys could really strongly fit here. How on the nose do we, because we could just say it's a luck devil and sort of write that, or we could say because these are luck devils, and it's like, oh, so what's the rambler? And it's like something more than that. Something worse is the answer to that question, right? I like a mysterious one of, I think, the real flaws in Faerun is that devils are so taxonomied that it makes them, to be frank, really boring. There's like 12 kinds of devils, and they're stacked one on top of the other. And somebody right now is like, well, it's the plane of law. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't mean it has to be boring. Cringe. Okay, so I think I'm gonna say I want to know what a luck devil fight looks like. And then what do you call these little fragments of fiendish fowl? What do you call these little boys? These little imps? Are they, they're little bits of bad luck? Are they omens? Are they
chips?
Omens, chips. Oh, that's fine. I like that.
Chips. I think chips is fun.
Chips. Okay. So we've got our first encounter and our first type of devil. We've got this luck devil and a couple of chips. That's our second encounter.
We did never decide what level we wanted this one shot to take
You
place
did
in.
when you made it a fiend. You put us at minimum CR7, probably.
Yeah.
Most things
we can make him whatever we want, but
here's the thing. I would love for that to be true. He's the Rambler, and he wanders from place to place and has never been killed before, which means he can deal with city guards, local adventurers, and local churches like they're nothing. So we're north of CR5, certainly, right? This dude's dealing with clerics, taking care of nonsense. He's lower than CR20. I can give you that. He's not an archdevil.
I think a good level to set this at would be like 6.
My nose is itching.
Because level 6, a lot of people are still playing at that point. They're still looking for interesting things. One-shots for their party to experience. Past that, they're sort of in the end game. Or they're not playing anymore. Because people don't want to play past level 10. So I think level 6.
Okay, so we got level 6. I love that. So we've got a luck devil and a couple of chips, which means those chips are probably CR1. That luck devil's probably CR4. You know, that puts us at CR math 4, 5, 6, 7. CR7 against a level 6 party is how the math adds up most of the time. That seems good to me. Those CR1s are going to drop right away once they start taking damage, especially past level 5. So we got a luck devil and a couple of chips after a tracking deal. That puts us at 2 encounters. You get inside, and I think we've got to set the stakes. I think you walk in the door, and you've got some, like... You got some guards, maybe? You got some souls that have been captured that are guarding the interior.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to seed the souls. Like, oh, these are things that are going to come back.
At that point, we've gone non-combat, combat, so our next encounter should be non-combat, or should at least be navigatable, right? You shouldn't have to fight. In this sort of, like, planar realm, I'm wondering what that looks like. Is it a puzzle? Is it just having to be very clever?
Do we want them to play a game?
At some point, I think a game needs to be played. I think that'll be our comparison to a puzzle. Will be a game. I think that the next room that would make sense would be a treasure room. I think in a treasure room, there's probably going to be some cursed items. This could be the mimic room. If we wanted to drop a mimic somewhere in this adventure, this is where it would happen. So it's avoidable. And you can get some cursed items that are going to fuck you up a little bit if you start grabbing all the treasure.
There's a hoard mimic now, but obviously we can't use it. It's
Pilfer.
new. It's from Fizzbands. Yeah, it's brand new, so it's not OGL at all. Okay. Tracking encounter, devil fight, soul fight. You go into this treasure room. You open the door. You're in this massive space full of treasure, and there's something that's job it is to guard it. And that's who you interact with, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be like a straight up fight or whatever. I think this is a devil. We can lean into the fact that the rules are different in this demiplane. So I don't think you can take the gold, or maybe taking the gold is the trap.
If you try and grab the money, I think that having it be like a gold golem is fun. Like, it all amalgams into this huge treasure beast that will attack you to defend itself from being taken out of the room.
Okay, so we've got a treasure room. Oh, so it's just a temptation. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
We just have a treasure room
it's Aladdin.
Yeah, don't touch. That has a don't touch sign up somewhere. And if you do, you have to deal with a fight. And, you know, I mean, we can have some fun with it. It doesn't need to be a construct. We can say that it's a gold devil, right? We could say it's a hoard devil or whatever that is, right? These things that sort of conjure. That's encounter 1, encounter 2, encounter 3, encounter 4. So this next encounter should probably be our last, which means it's time to fight the Rambler. It's the Rambler, the Gambler, the Black Rider.
You walk up, and there's a slot machine in front of you. I'm not smart enough to make a puzzle out of a slot machine, but there's got to be a trick to making it show all 7s, all gold coins, or whatever to get the door to open. Because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense for the Rambler to have it if you had to pull it 17 times to make it function. There's a trick. And if there's a trick, there's got to be a hint. I don't know if I can come up with that now, but that's what I'm picturing to walk in on. To go like, pull a lever.
I mean, it's something that's meant to make it so that a fiend can get in, but anybody else can't. I think probably just if a creature without a soul pulls on it, that does it. Which is my first sort of instinct. It gives us, it would. Okay,
those with nothing else to lose may enter. You know, some shit like that.
Do we want the entrance to be beat the DM in a game or something?
we're getting
gets
a little too
wonky.
weird. We're getting a little too wonky
Yeah.
in that
Sure,
space.
all right.
We're starting to step outside of the game. I like the idea. I think we need to commit to it. We're being non-committal. So if what you're Spencer, that's a whole another encounter. If it's this like
Yep.
lock that's really hard to figure out and is a puzzle, I'm tempted to just say we should just merge it with the treasure room fight. So now this sort of starts to take place. You need something.
Oh, main entry. Yeah.
You need something without a soul to pull it, because devils don't have souls. That's a nice, easy way for this devil to keep anything else from opening it. And we have a room with a devil that chases after anything that has its gold. These problems solve themselves, right? Somebody needs to... The puzzle is get that creature in a situation where it attacks the door.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best I've got. You've
Mhm.
I gotta be honest, my main temptation is I think the slot machine idea is too complicated and we shouldn't do it. But if we want to do it, I see a pretty good avenue to sort of merge the two encounters and get us a little bit of a win condition.
I think that's fun. I think the idea of having the slot, you open up, you fight these things, you open a door, and in front of you is a huge treasure room. If you start picking up the gold, you're going to get fucked up. But if you walk to the end of the room, you see that huge slot, big sevens flashing, and you're like, that's something. Maybe interesting enough that the party don't just grab gold right off rip. They walk up to the door, they go, okay, there's this riddle, only those that with nothing left to lose can enter, blah, blah, blah. Turn around, and they're like, okay, well, what's this thing, this room, what's this about? And it's the gold, a hoard demon. Like, okay, we need to get that thing to blast in, whatever.
Yeah.
Polish on that.
Yeah, increasingly I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. You said yourself. I love that you opened this is the meanest thing you've ever done. You were like, I have a puzzle I can't think of any ideas for. Why would you bring it up then? Okay, so you've got this. I think you're right. I think we're clearly leaning into that being too complicated. I don't know how you're going to justify that devil pulling the fucking bar. Is it that you kill it and use its dead body to do it? If the issue is what the direction we're heading into is somebody makes a thieves' tools check. And that's it. Because otherwise it's like, what, do you have to empty all the gold out of your pockets or something like that? Like, yeah, we could. I'm trying to lean. Players don't solve puzzles very well. You know what I mean? And
correct.
They're not going to want to empty out their pockets of all their gold, right? They're not going to want to do that. So I'm trying to figure out what this slot mechanic would be. Is it just a luck check? Like, is it that this devil has perfect luck and you don't? Is it sit there and pull on the fucking thing until it opens? Like, that's the best thing we have for it as a slot machine is the devil has perfect luck. You don't. Every time he pulls it, it comes up 3 sevens. He rolls a nat 20 every time. So like, is it?
It's funny to do that. Okay, here's what I think. It doesn't have to be a nat 20. My first thought was you need a nat 20 on pulling it, and then you get to enter. I think that it would be easier to say you make a charisma check to pull this and influence, the weave around the machine to open up. So you get bardic inspiration, you get enhanced ability, you get all of that stuff. You have to break a DC 20 to go in. So almost nobody, no regular person is going to be able to do it. You're a hero. You're an adventurer. You will be able to do it with your party. So you lay out the details of that, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to give you the ability to be more lucky to get through that.
Okay, I like that. I think then that because it is so spammable, I think I return to mixing it with the fight. You enter the treasure room, a creature emerges and starts attacking you. You can, and there's this door at the other end. You need to try to do this while fighting off this creature, because otherwise it is just, does somebody succeed on the roll? No. Okay. Roll again. Yeah. Does somebody succeed on the roll? Guidance. No. Okay. Somebody succeed on the roll. Bardic inspiration. Guidance. This. I rolled a nat 1.
Oh. And that's easy. So I would say
we get so locked.
You have like 30. You kill the hoard devil. You have 30 seconds, and the gold starts convalescing again. So you have to go back, you have to go, oh shit, we need to unlock this and get out of here. It is going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
So you have like that 30-second span to go, what is this? Pull it. Oh, I need to do charisma. Give me that bardic inspiration. Pull it again. You get through, and it falls apart again.
I did think of a puzzle. If we go on puzzle.
All right, it's
What
just
is
got to
it?
be simple.
So there's 3 things across, and there's like 3 levers or 4 levers, and you just have to get a certain order of them, and you'd have to do the math of it. But every time you pull this lever, this one goes. Every time you pull this lever, these 2 go. Every time you pull this one, these 3 levers go.
Here's the thing. In a video game, 1,000,000%, I would shoot myself in the face if I was a player and I encountered different levers that pulled different items. But I remember a mechanic like that in something. I don't remember what it was, but I do think it's a good puzzle.
It reminds me of the.
I just couldn't do it.
I think I know what you're remembering. This was forever ago. It's called, if memory serves, the apparatus of Qualish. It's like a big barrel that you get inside of that has like 4 levers, 5 gems, and 5 buttons. And depending on what order you press them in, different stuff happens, and some of it's good and some of it's terrible. And so you have to like make intelligence checks, or well, most DMs would let you make intelligence checks to sort of like try to do the right stuff. Okay.
Great puzzle. I can't permit that in a room with D&D players.
All right.
Okay, so you have to pull a lever.
That's the only kind of puzzle I could think of.
You have to pull the lever. The lever is a charisma check. While that's going on, the party is being attacked. I see sort of 2 ways ahead on that. One is what you're talking about, which is it is a creature. It has a CR. You can bring it down. It will come up. 30 seconds is 5 rounds. That's maybe a little too long. I think it might take like 12 seconds. Like it takes 2 rounds to come back. Or 3. 3 is a better number. 3 rounds, which is 18 seconds. Or this creature is essentially a trap. Is the alternative. You cannot do damage to it. You make dexterity saving throws when it attacks. Do you see what it just shifts it? Where it's like essentially an elaborate trap, where it's like, I try to attack it. It's a pile of metal. Nothing happens. And it's instead it's about you trying to get this door open as quickly as possible. Or it's a combat encounter with the door as this looming threat to try to solve. Because if you make it a round or 2, that means they get to try once, and then they have to do the fight again. And then they get to try once, and then they have to do the fight again. That just means we have to make that fight pretty easy, because it's going to stack really quickly. If that's a CR 5, it's a monster by itself, so it's going to get blasted. But unless it's like if it's like CR 5, by the time, if they have to go up against it a 3rd time, spell slots are going to be running low.
My argument against making it easier is, if I were playing the game, I would be like, fighter, paladin, go fight that thing. Me, bard, and you, cleric, are going to that fucking machine and pulling the lever while you take aggro. So that way it's not, fighting it 4 times. Part of the party can break up and pull the lever on their turn in initiative.
All right, I think we've landed somewhere. We've incorporated the ideas. I think we've landed somewhere good. It's our puzzle had to become a skill check. We attach it to the fight. It gives your grognard, it gives the barbarian something to do that's not. I hit the slot machine. I hate it. I punch it as hard as I can. Like, we sort of give everybody something to do. I think that we've rounded out those ideas as well as we can. And then, of course, we have our 5th and final encounter, the Rambler. Very good.
Yeah.
Woo!
And this is the complex one. The Rambler's where we start getting real weird with it.
So now we have a choice to make. We're at 58 minutes with that 10-minute start time, which is great. 7:27. We're done at 8 today, yeah?
8.
Great. So we've got 30 minutes on the clock. We have 5 stat blocks to think about. We have Luck Devil, we have Chips, we have Souls, we have the Rambler, and we have whatever is guarding the treasure room. Those are our 5 things, right? Because we know the Souls are also what helps the Rambler. So that's 2 birds, 1 stone. So that's great. So we have 5 things to think about. I think we should start with the smallest and just work our way down. because we'll sort of get a better idea of how we want to like theme this. So we start with our lowest CR creature, Chips. I think Chips are probably CR1, right? We want to be able to fight a couple of them at the same time. Chips are CR1. I am fine with them going down quickly. I think that they are sort of expendable in that way. I think a Luck Devil can probably summon them. I think maybe one of the Luck Devil's actions is summon 1d4 Chips into the fight.
Yeah, that's easy.
Which, you could end up with 1. It's not going to be any help at all. So,
And
go ahead.
As an example for CR1, I guess this is a demon, not a devil. There's Quasit.
Wow, so we nailed this. Quasit is the imp equivalent for demons.
Yep. So yeah, they have invisibility, scare once a day, claws, and bite in beast form. Shape changer, magic resistance, low HP, 7 HP is all they have.
Yeah.
So that's the camp we're building around, is something similar to that.
So we were just talking about this the other day off cam. I am a firm believer in the bonus action and reaction. I think they are vital. For a low CR creature, so for me it's any creature below CR 3, I tend to want it to have 2 actions at least, and a bonus action or a reaction. You don't want low CR creatures to have too much action economy, or the fight is just going to slow down too much. So, action 1, we all know what it is. Bite, claw, it's firebolt, We've got this, we have attack. We don't need to worry about that too much. It's, they're CR1, that means they have a +2 proficiency bonus. That means their strength is going to add up to like a +2 or 3. So, we've got like a +5 to hit, 1d6 or 2d4 +3 damage. Nothing interesting is happening there. Secondary action, it's gotta be some kind of bane, right?
I was like, is there a reaction similar to Shield where they help out an ally by making something bad happen?
Oh, so I like that for our reaction. So the reaction on a... So the reaction for a chip, I think, is just bad luck! ! And it's subtract 1d4. They have the opposite of guidance. They have ha! Like they're
mislead.
They're able to just like screw over every action that happens around them gets worse.
God, so upsetting.
The only other thing I was thinking of that sounds like such bad luck is some way to decrease people's AC.
Anti-shield.
Pretty lethal.
Yes.
It's the only...
It might not be for these guys, but some mechanic. I don't know.
One of our bigger guys later on.
I think it's a good one for it might be a good one for a Luck Devil or the Rambler. Like the Rambler being able to I like the idea that the Rambler can take stats away. Like that he can subtract from your AC and stuff like that. I have him as a controller still. So I think that's kind of fun. The idea that he is this devil who can make and break wagers is gonna be our biggest thing.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay. But so I need another action for our chip. So as a reaction, they have bad luck, minus 1d4. For their primary action, they have bite or claw or firebolt or whatever. I need another action. So I need something a little chunkier than minus 1d4.
How's not like a sleight of hand thing? Like they're trying to take stuff from people. Like if they get a high enough roll, they take the rogue's dagger.
We could give them disarm, like the fighter maneuver.
Guys, we're getting a little too annoying for a player.
Yeah,
we're getting a little
this isn't
too
CR1.
annoying.
That's pretty fucked up.
You're up you're like I think the actual champion stat block doesn't have disarm, and that's like CR10. I think we're getting a little high on the horse here.
My real answer is bite for up close, firebolt for at range, reaction, misguide or whatever, bad luck. Those are the 3.
Okay. If that's true, I like that. If that's true, I want the far attack to just be damage, and I want the close attack to do something that sucks. Like I want if it's just 2 different versions of the same attack, then we should just give them the ranged version of the attack. So why is letting one of these things get to you a bad idea? Like, why is them getting close? Do they have, like, an aura?
Yeah.
There we go. It sounds like
Yeah.
they do. Do they have, like, an aura of bullshit that, like, if they get too close to you is just such a huge problem?
Yeah, it can be like the opposite of a paladin's aura, right? Where a paladin will give you a +5 to all saving throws when you're within 10 feet of them. The chips, if you're within 5 feet, if you're in melee range of them, you get a -5 to saving throws.
So what we're deciding is what luck devil ability needs a saving throw, and so we want a chip right next to you so that you have. So yeah, I mean, let's just call it. They're just absolutely the worst. I think bad luck applies to skill checks and attack rolls, but doesn't do anything else. And then I think they have an aura where you just have disadvantage on saving throws.
Yeah.
If you are within 5 feet. So they only have one attack, and it's bite. They want to get close to you.
They want to be up in your shit.
Because as important it is for DMs to, like, reward players for the behavior they want, as designers, you have to reward GMs for doing what you want. So, okay, they have this aura dis on saves. I love that. I think that's very good. It gives us a reason for them to have a bite attack and nothing else. And it makes this bad luck just build and build and build. It's very thematically consistent. I like it. Okay. So now we shift down to our Luck Devil. If these guys are CR1, that means our Luck Devil is
4 or 5.
Yeah. Well, probably CR4. Or it's 2 CR2 creatures, but then they're going to die really fast. I think probably CR4 is our best bet.
I'm cool with 4.
We're over the threshold of CR3. So for me, we're getting into the heavy stuff here. I either want them to have 3... I tend to say 3 actions, 2 bonus actions, and a reaction. That might still be a little heavy for the sort of level of design that we are doing. In my personal games, that's just how that's how I roll. But that's fine. So we can pare that down to 2-1-1.
Yeah.
So they have 2 actions, they have a bonus action, and they have a reaction. And we know that one of their actions requires a saving throw and sucks. It's, like, really unfortunate. My temptation is to say, when a creature attacks the Luck Devil can make a charisma save. If you fail, it attacks one of your allies instead.
That's pretty fun. My first thought was life drain, where it's you make this opposed check. If you fuck up, the devil takes your life and puts it on themselves. But I like the idea of you make an attack, you fuck up, you hit your friend. That's great, and it fits more with the luck metric.
Reverse you now.
And so now we have a choice to make. Is that a reaction or is that an action? Like, is it a reaction to being attacked, or is it the Luck Devil uses its action to make you slip and accidentally hit your friend?
Oh yeah.
So that's because it's a pretty huge shift. One of them, if it's a reaction, it's going to slow the fight down, but it's going to suck in a way that's kind of good, right? When you attack, the melee fighter goes to swing and has Wrathful Smite on their sword. He's like, no, and forces it on somebody else, right? It kind of changes your tactics a little bit. If it's an action, it doesn't slow down combat as much, but our Luck Devil gets a lot squishier.
I think it's a reaction. I think the paladin goes with a Wrathful Smite. He goes, nope, and then you hit the bard for fucking 47 damage.
I'm gonna a reaction. Oops. Save or redirect is great. Party members can do that. It's a fun and annoying ability, and these devils play in this sort of field. I love it. I would like.
What would the save be? Like a wisdom 15 or something?
Probably something like that. I'd have to pull up other stat blocks that are in a similar category to be positive on the number, though. But yeah, probably wisdom.
Charisma?
It doesn't really matter. It's wisdom if he is mind controlling you into attacking a friend, it's dexterity if you slip on a banana peel and hit a friend. So that's really the choice we have to make. Charisma save could work. It's a little, it doesn't connect as well as the wisdom as wisdom or dexterity. I'm tempted towards dexterity just because I think it's funny that you do, because it's important. They're changing luck. They're not mind controlling you. You slip and almost hit your friend. Like it's a goof. I think our bonus action is a recharge, like Dragon's Breath style. I think it recharges on a 5 or a 6, and it's summon 1d4. Chips. 5, 6, 1d4 chips.
And that you said is a bonus action?
Yeah, I like it as a bonus action instead, because if it's an action, it's not going to do it. It's going to be, it's going to start with a couple of chips. It's going to attack, die, and it's never going to come up. As a bonus action, that means first round, probably a couple of chips are going to go down. It's going to summon some more, and you guys are going to be like, we got to kill this thing right now. It's going to really sort of change the temper of the fight. I mean, now we have two actions. One of them is hit.
Yep. Hit with sword.
Yeah, one of them is, it's when you say, like, give them an alternate action, a lot of people are like, that's going to take a lot of work. No, it's not. They have hit. Everybody's got the same. They've got ow. Okay, so you've got hit, and then we have something else in the action territory.
What are we missing here? We've got a lot of reactions covered. We've got people getting fucked up and hitting their allies. Honestly, at this point, we have a lot of HP removal going on. So what else could we include in this fight that wouldn't be HP removal, that wouldn't be lowering saving throws?
Some way to buff themselves or allies?
I could see something,
The Luck Devil could give a bonus to one of the chips or something. It could give, like, plus 1d4. In a way that the chips can subtract it. The only other thought I had was it can make people slip and fall prone.
Yeah. I like the idea of empowering the chips.
Great.
Same. I was thinking of the fall mechanic, but I was thinking about that for our Rambler, like a mass prone.
I got a real asshole move. The Luck Devil has an action it can use once. And it's get 'em, boys! All the chips get to move and attack.
Once per day, all the chips get to jump fucking, everyone. That's fun.
Get 'em, boys!
I like it. And it makes it goofy enough that this first fight isn't really fucked up. It's just like, oh, ha, ha, ha.
You say that until there's a DM that use all the actions or bonus actions to get a whole bunch of them. And there's like 40 or 50 of them.
Recharge.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Level 6 characters are working with like 30 plus HP. 8 CR1 creatures attacking you isn't going to be good, but it's not like they're all going to attack one person. They're all going to hit, and they're going to do their full company of damage, which is going to be like 1d4 plus 3 across 8 creatures. If they all hit and they all do normal numbers, they're going to do 40 points of damage. That spread across 5 people, it's just going to suck. It's going to be normal bad. And that's if they all hit. They're not gonna, right? A couple of them are going to miss.
That's why.
Good.
I was just saying, that's why I was saying there's going to be DMs that use the bonus action to get 50 of these little chips out there.
Yeah, it summons like 15 of them, but then what I'm picturing is the wizard going, guys, this is gonna hurt, but only once, and fireballing straight through, killing all of them, and then, getting into combat.
Yeah, I mean, a chain lightning ends this encounter the minute it starts. Okay. I love that for the Luck Devil. So the Luck Devil can make these little critters, and of course he has an action that lets him use the fact that there's 25 critters out on the field, and he goes, get them! And all these little dudes can all dash across. My brain is stuck on them being evil Oompa Loompas. Like, I'm not imagining little flying creatures. I'm imagining these little,
They're all wearing suits.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. They're like all in like with like little bolo ties. I don't know. It's pretty scary in a way that I'm enjoying a little bit. Okay, how are we doing on time? 17.
15 minutes.
Great. Pretty good. Okay, so we got this soul. The souls, I think, are where we get a little odd, because, like, do we want to make 5 stat blocks?
I mean, no. We don't have time right now to do it either way.
So let's
So
say,
we'll-
yeah. The souls are going to have an up close. We need a melee fighter, we need a ranged, we need a spellcaster, and we need a problem. You know, that the problem could be a rogue, the problem could be an artificer, the problem could be a cleric. In my opinion, huge game design opinion here, rogues and clerics have the same function in combat, which is they are a big problem. And that's it. One of them heals, one of them does a lot of damage. They functionally have the same role, which is cause an issue, in a way that a up-close fighter and a ranged fighter don't. And for me, an archer and a wizard are the same. As far as the math of D&D goes, there is no distinction. So you've got fight you up close, fight you from a distance, and oh no.
and do some stuff.
So I think that we can just confidently say we are going to make 3 stat blocks. It's not worth doing on camera. For those of you at home, this would just be a great encounter to be perfect. If it was me as GM, I'd just roll up a couple of level 6 characters. That's what this fight would be. I'd roll up a level 6 fighter, a level 6 rogue, and a level 6 warlock. And that's what the fight would be. If you wanted to do monster stat blocks, they were simpler. Grab a couple of bandits, right?
Yep. That was going to be my advice. That's what I do. If I'm not publishing, which is what we're doing, you just grab a bandit, you grab a cultist, and you grab a rogue.
If I can really get into the weeds of choices you can make that you can just keep as a little secret to yourself. Every now and again, if I want there to be a spellcaster, I'll just grab like a knoll stat block and I'll just describe its punch as having a range of 45 feet. And I'll be like, and he weaves magic in the air. And a wizard will just be, I'll be looking at a knoll stat block that's the right CR. And I'll be like, yeah,
That works.
yeah, and just reflavor it. That's a huge part of GMing at home, is just looking for the right abilities and going, and I'll make it a dude and calling it a day. Okay. So now we've got a treasure fight and we've got the Rambler. Do we think we've got
Treasure fight? Ugh. Hit my knee.
I say we got 5 minutes for the treasure fight.
Yeah, treasure fight has got to be CR 4 or 5. It's a solo monster. It can't be anything lower than that. Otherwise, it's going to get wiped.
I think it has to be CR5. If I'm being candid, depending on the group, if SEAL Team for the our home game right now has what I've dubbed SEAL Team 4, which is the deadliest array of adventurers I've ever encountered. If it was SEAL Team 4, I'm going CR7 for that solo monster, because otherwise that thing's going down immediately, and this fight's a nothing burger.
Here's what I'm going to say.
For a published thing,
5. I think to make it difficult, it's not its abilities. It comes down to HP and AC. This thing is made out of metal and is big. You're not going to kill it in one round because that's what it's built for, is to survive. It will outlast you if you don't figure out the puzzle. That's the game. It has slam and maybe some sort of trip up mechanic because you're slipping on gold coins. And that's the shit that it does.
So
it's mostly just hard to kill.
Our AC is on the business end of 18 because 18 is plate armor. And if we want to keep it really simple, then it has slam as its sort of main bad attack. It has rumble. All the creatures in a second action, all the creatures in the area make a saving throw or fall prone. That saving throw will probably be strength, as it rumbles the horde beneath their feet. And then for a bonus action or reaction, it has a bonus action and it has stomp. The treasure creature makes an attack against a prone creature as a bonus action. And that's,
Easy.
can I tell you something? About 2/3 of the monsters that I make on the fly, they have an action to attack, an action to knock people prone, and if someone's prone, they get a bonus action attack. It just lets them want something and lets the players know that if you fall prone, you're like, I gotta get up! Like, you've immediately got to worry about that. Lich's Dollhouse has that. If you're prone,
Yep.
they get an extra attack. It's the best thing to do. Is if X extra attack. Okay. We
Done.
did that with 2 minutes on the field. Not bad.
Nice.
And also, it knocking people prone is funny because it messes with the action economy of trying to run to the button.
Yeah.
That back and forth gets a little more annoying, which is fine. Okay. I need a fresh little sheet here. It's time to stat out the Rambler.
And don't forget, we need to stat out. Well, we need to have the basic information for a magic item before we hang up too.
The Rambler plus item. Okay. I'm looking for 3 actions, 2 bonus actions, and a reaction for the Rambler. I have a reaction that I'm in love with, which is from bad to worse. When you fail an attack roll, the Rambler makes you hit yourself.
Hilarious.
It could be, we could back off it a little bit if we want to just be in response to failing a check, you take 1d4 psychic damage or whatever as the Rambler does something. My idea was if you miss with an attack within 30 feet of the Rambler, he bends the luck to be even worse. You attack yourself.
No, I think that's funnier. We should do that.
I thought of that, I gotta be honest with you guys, a full 45 minutes ago and had to just keep it locked right here.
Rough.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens, when you get a good idea, but everybody's... Specifically, it's the feeling of like, oh, I just thought of something funny to say. They changed topics. No! Yeah. You end up trying to like walk the conversation back to the other topic. Like, hey, what were you saying about Avatar? Like, just trying to desperately. Okay. So that's a reaction that I like. From bad to worse.
Bonus action or action, I'm not sure. This is where, taking people's AC away comes in.
Gotta be an action. That's such
Gotta-
a heavy
yeah.
hit.
He burns his action and he goes, fighter, you lose 5 AC. And now my shades get to punch you hard. Have fun.
Minus 1d6 AC.
Brutal.
Oh.
I was just thinking anti-shield. So I hit with a 5.
5 is just so much.
It's so much. It
Yeah.
is.
It's 5 will
I
take
hope your wizard fucking hits you with a shield.
the wizard's like, my AC just became 8. No!
The point is gotta get to negative AC.
The thing that's pushing me to 1d6 is it's a gambling bad guy.
Yeah.
We got it's
Yeah.
all
You
gotta
gotta
be
roll the
rolls. It's gotta be rolls.
Yeah.
So we
True.
got 1d6 AC. We've got hurt. We've got he does a hurt on you. You gotta stick with what you got. Because he is a controller, I'm gonna say what happens to you that sucks if he hits you. It's got to be something. It could be slowed movement speed. It could be.
What's thematic?
I mean, I think just the idea of them having slowed movement speed is fun. My thought was, yeah, go ahead.
He's the Rambler. He could have fancy footwork from the Swashbuckler. If he hits you, you don't get an attack of opportunity on him.
Yeah, that's fun. So he's still an upfront fighter while the other things are going on. He could just escape. That's fun, yeah. If he is like, it's mobile.
Yeah.
You attack a creature and you can move away from without provoking opportunity attacks. Sweet.
It encourages, and again, it encourages the DM to have this person use this creature tactically. It moves in, it attacks, it moves out. It's the Rambler. It's all about moving and being gone before the authorities are there to track you down. We want to understand how this thing works in combat. That's how it works. A guard turns around the corner, gets hit, the thing is gone before they can catch up. Making the abilities make sense in lore is always kind of a fun version of
Bonus
it.
action, Misty Step. That's easy.
Misty Step. And we can, what is it? It's like, sulfur step or something. With
Yeah.
a terrible smell on the air, it vanishes from one place and reappears in another.
Yeah.
We have one action and one bonus action left. Is one of these taken up by Summon Shade? Or does it bamf into combat with a number of allies, and that's what it has, and it cannot create more? I'm thinking of the way that vampires can summon wolves.
Yeah. I think bonus action, summon Shade.
Oh, so it can summon one? That's pretty good, depending on how... Okay.
So each time, if it's not burning those Misty Steps, it can go, whoomp, throw a die, whoomp, throw a die, whoomp, throw a die.
Yeah, that just means when we go around to making those, we got to make that CR pretty reasonable. That means those bad boys are CR 1 or 2. We need them to go down in one round. Because otherwise, this fight is going to get... Or maybe, that's the appeal, is you don't attack the Shades. You see the Rambler summon, and you're like, get him. Like, we got to go get this dude. Okay, I need one more action.
This is where we would have an AoE effect, right? We don't have anything that does that yet.
Yeah, this is going to be our sort of big ow, right? This is our big problem thing that we don't want to have too much of an issue with. If we still had... This so hinges on the way that souls work, and we've already said we're not going to come up with what souls do, right? Like, one of the... because he can summon so many... Something that is similar in flavor to what the Luck Devil can do with the chips, right? So this is a very powerful Luck Devil. So the souls are kind of... Okay, we're going somewhere in my head. This is a very powerful Luck Devil. The souls are sort of a reflection of the chips. What if it's, like, combust? The Luck Devil... Because all of a sudden, this mobility makes a lot of sense. This Luck Devil, the Rambler is up in the melee with you. He attacks, backs up, and there's souls around you all. He snaps, and they explode and deal damage to whoever is near them.
Burn the shades that you have. Fun.
So burn soul. And that's 3 actions, that's 2 bonus actions, and a reaction. Now we get into the real question. How nasty is this fight? My boy got layer actions? My boy got layer actions?
It's a layer.
Yeah, he has layer actions.
It doesn't get more layery than a devil's pocket dimension inside of his playing mat. He's got to have something.
Layer actions, I tend to prefer the Matthew Colville school of the villain action, but they're functionally identical. So it doesn't super matter which one it is. We need 3 of them. And these are just things that happen on initiative count 20. We got 5 minutes to come up with 3 ideas. One of them, we don't actually have Bane running yet anywhere.
Yeah, I think that it is save or suck. Everybody, a slot pops up in front of your face and it rolls through. You roll your die. If you get above a certain number, it pops up. You get 7s. If you get below, it pops up. You get skulls. You get -4 or minus D4 forward.
So I like the idea that it's not... Okay, so what if it's all creatures on the field? Roll a d20. If you get a 1 through 10, you take -1 d4 to your next action. If you get an 11 through 20, you get a +1 d4. And like,
that's fun.
The devil might get minus.
Yeah, that's fun.
Sure.
1 to 10 debuff. 11 to 20 buff. That's great. We need 2 more. This also means that these just step down. This is a huge choice we have to make. Fights don't go for longer than 3 encounters ever, for those of you at home, unless the thing is like 1,000,000 HP. Because this first one has a chance of sucking for everybody, as the GM... Because GMs are hard to trust to use less than optimal choices sometimes, we might be like, the first layer action goes off first, then the second, then the third, right? They might go off in order, sort of in that way.
Do we want 1 layer action is like... It immobilizes all enemies?
That's a party killer right there. That's a little too heavy.
I have 2 that I was pondering. 1, position reset. Everybody gets fucking thrown around the map, and they pop up in a different position. You got the wizard in the back line? Not anymore. You got your fighter right in front of this dude's face? Not anymore. things got moved around. 2, reroll initiative. You had
No,
a
it's that
team
one.
going,
It's reroll
right?
initiative. That sucks. Oh, I love that. That's awful. Can you imagine? You've got all these plans.
Like, okay, I'm gonna stack this and put that. Nope. Clerics first.
Nope. Dink. Yeah, it's awful. So we got 1 to 10 debuff, 11 to 20 buff. We've got reroll initiative. We got 2 minutes on the clock. We got 1 mo to go.
It sounded like jackpot.
It's ooh, jackpot's fun. Wait a minute.
I don't know what that means, but it's
yeah, no, but it's good. Like, I get it, and it's the last layer action.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think that the party at this point in the combat gets a choice. They vote on it, essentially. Everybody on the field gains 20 HP, or nothing happens. So if you've got 2 downed party members, you can get them standing. But this devil and all of his spirits are also going to get 20 HP back. It's a true gamble on how bad things are.
Oh.
And that's the jackpot.
My only question is, like, mechanically, what happens?
To make this occur?
Yeah. Like, what goes on? I like the idea that, because this first one is just explained away, like, the slot machine in front of them is funny, but we could also just say, like, luck is unstable here, right? Some GMs aren't going to want to go that silly with it. And this encounter could be fairly sad, right? If this person stole a bard's ability to sing, and you're tracking down this luck devil, this could be fairly serious, right? We're all pretty silly when it comes to the way we run the game. So, like, the first one could just be luck is unstable in a place like this. Roll a d20, tell me the result. Number 2, rerolling initiative could be the same deal. It's hard to find your footing in this sort of place. Make that reroll. Everybody gains 20 health is a little harder to explain away. Like, it leaves me wondering what happens mechanically in the space.
What's that game where you're with another contestant? If you say yes and they say yes, you both get all the money. If you say no and they say yes, they get the money.
The prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, prisoner's dilemma type beat.
If we couldn't make jackpot, everyone on the field, their next ability crits.
If the party has a paladin, this fight's over.
But Big Bad's gonna crit. All of his shades are gonna crit.
It depends on the initiative order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gosh, this is tough, guys. This is tough.
It is tough.
We've been putting out some bangers. I'm not gonna lie. It's just bangers that might not make sense. That's the problem. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we could do the plus 20 health and say a swell of luck fills the room. Everybody gain 10 HP. And it's everybody, right? The devil and his cohort and you all, right? The house. I'm tempted to say this last one should suck, but I'm also, that's making me think, like, the house always wins, right?
They get 40, you get 20.
Yeah, something like that. Like, it should disproportionately benefit the bad guy, because it's this is a fight, right? These other ones all have sort of oddity to them. Rerolling initiative, and those things aren't really game changing. If it's gain health, Spencer, if you wanted to do that, you could say, like, you all feel a swell of energy fill the space. You can accept it or reject it. If you accept it, you will gain 5 HP. He will gain 10. And so if you have a bunch of down party members, worth it. If you don't, it's not. The crit idea, nice. I like the thought of it's just too swingy. Like, it's just too swingy. Like, that could turn this fight into a TPK immediately if in the wrong situation.
Yeah. The other thought I was having with the house always wins thought, the first layer action, should we still play in the benefit of bad guys? Like, it depending on how they roll, they'll still always get a little bit better.
What was the first one?
The Bane. Positive or negative Bane?
Everybody roll D20. On a 1 through 10, you get a Bane. On an 11 through 20, you get a buff.
Yeah.
And the Bane is a little not as bad for the bad guys, and the buff is a little bit better for the bad guys.
Interesting. I'm not against it.
Okay.
I think it makes sense.
I think that's a balance thing, and we're 2 minutes past. I would like to drill
Yeah.
down on this third idea. Do we like the idea that they regain health? Do we like the idea that...
Yeah, my only counter was to make it heavily in the other party's favor, in the bad favor. It would be, you get this, everybody gets the 20 HP back, but it brings back the spirits that have been defeated. They get risen back with 20 HP. So now you could be potentially facing like 5 spirits when you were facing 1 spirit and the devil. So it's always in the house's favor because you've been killing people this entire time.
I like that. I'm in. I think it's jackpot. I think it's 3 rounds into the fight. There's going to be a bunch of dead souls. I think the Rambler does it. I think the Rambler shifts the luck in the room to be as good as possible for everybody. And so all of you heal 5. I think 20 is a little too much. All of you heal 5 or 10, but you watch all of these souls come back up with a couple of HP. I think is good. I think that makes sense. Your reframe was very helpful. +5, and I'll say willful action, just so that we understand. Oof. All right, a little past. We're at an hour and 35. So for this stream, we are about 5 minutes over our sort of normal runtime, which isn't too bad. So I think we're good there. I'm going to hand it over to you, man.
There was one more thing, and it is the magic item. We've already done it. So here's my pitch, and we can just say this and then leave so we get out of here on time. The pitch is you get one of these dice, one of these spirit dice, 2 of these spirit dice. The Path of Ancestors Barbarian, getting to call on spirits, that's what you get. You get to use this 6 times, then it's fully expended. And depending on what you roll, you get a mage, you get a cleric, or you get whatever. So you get a bonus to some combats.
Yeah. My only alternate pitch is because I love giving the party a little guy is the Rambler. The Rambler's like the Rambler screams and goes no and falls down, and a D6 lands where he stood. And once per day, you can roll it, and a chip appears, and that chip is the Rambler.
That's fun. Yeah,
I tend to like giving the party a freaky little dude in this sort of situation. Or it could be you can use this ability. This item has 6 charges. When all 6 charges are expended, it will never function again.
Yeah.
And it would be you harness one of the Rambler's abilities. So you can summon Shade, or you could bad to worse. You know, you could give like a list of options of the Rambler's abilities, and you could sort of steal a little bit of his magic. I think we got a lot of great ideas on the field for that.
All in all, well done, gang. That's going to be it for us tonight. So, as you can see, our schedule has gotten changed around a little bit. We're doing DM Writer's Room Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 to 8 p.m. We do an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we've swapped our Theros D&D actual play to Thursdays.
Yes.
At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
7:30.
Yeah, 7:30. We always start late. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 10 p.m. So please join us for our D&D stream. Join us for these. Follow us on TikTok. Like all of our stuff. Give us shout outs on your own social media if you like what you've been watching. Subscribe, follow.